There's this weird thing that happens in pop culture every once in a while where people get the same idea at the same time. You've seen it in movies with asteroid movies. Armageddon and Deep Impact came out the same summer. Even animated bug movies, Bugs Life and Ants, both came out the same summer. Volcano, you remember the Volcano movies? Oh man, what were those called? I think one was just called Volcano, and Dante's Peak, I think, was the other one. Neither of those really made much of an impact. But the point being, it happens, and it's happened again on TV this time, with the idea of bringing fairy tales to real life. The two TV shows are Grimm and Once Upon a Time, and as easy as it might be to separate them into kind of the light and fluffy one, Once Upon a Time, and the more dark and mysterious one, Grimm, I think there's some more other subtle differences between them. I actually want to give each show its due, so I'll review them both. I'll start with Once Upon a Time today and then review Grimm tomorrow. When I look at the show Once Upon a Time, my very first reaction to the first episode was, this is gorgeous. What a beautifully shot and presented show. Looks great in high definition. Lots of bright colors, lots of beautiful expanses, and it really caught my eye visually. It was the first time, maybe since the debut of Lost, that I've seen a pilot episode of a show and went, this looks like a movie. There are just some shows that do a great job of feeling cinematic, and I think Once Upon a Time is one of those shows. What about the story? What about the acting? What about the plot? What about the engagement? I think it does well in all those areas too. I think the acting is, it's good enough. There's some really great work done in the character of, what's the bad guy's name? I almost said Rapunzel, but it's not. The guy who, Rumpelstiltskin. That's close to Rapunzel, right? Except one's a guy and one's a girl. Anyhow. Rumpelstiltskin does a great job. The guy who plays that part is really fun in this movie. And the other characters kind of surrounding Snow White and Prince Charming, and they all do a very decent job of being these characters that are fairy tale characters, but don't know it because they exist in some sort of curse that puts them in our world. I really think the little boy who plays in Once Upon a Time is probably the weakest of the actors. There's some moments you just go, but he's a kid, you know? And he doesn't do awful, and he's cute enough and engaging enough, but I feel bad for kid actors sometimes, because that's a lot of weight to handle, especially when you're the center of the show like he is. The story I find wonderful. I think it's a neat idea to kind of bring somebody into a situation where they're trying to wake up these characters to the reality that they are actually Snow White and Prince Charming and Jiminy Cricket. How do you tell somebody existing in this world that they're actually a cricket who represents the conscience of a wooden boy? That seems like a fun and interesting proposition. And the execution is good. The stories are played out well. They're dynamic. They're fun. They're cute little clues and cues into the stories of the different characters. Overall, me and my family who watches it with me have really enjoyed Once Upon a Time. And I think, we're 5, maybe 6 episodes in now. And it's what I'm going to stick with as long as it's around. Not just because it's done well, but because it's beautiful. And to be honest, I'm really interested in seeing where it goes.